Do you guys ever feel risky? You ever go outside when it's Susan boiling weather and not wear any sun cream because you don't care if you get absolutely prawn cocktailed? Do you text random numbers to join your private league? Or would you even be risky enough to captain a newly promoted team's player in game week 1? Today we're going to look at the riskiest players you could choose from the start of the season. There's two main types of risky players: the expensive, not nailed on players, but if they have a good season, you know they could score a lot of points. Or the players that haven't proved themselves in the league yet. So at first, we have new Norwich goalkeeper, Ralph Farman. It would be cruel not to start Ralph over Tim, but he's a great shot stopper in a team that concede a lot of shots against them. So at 4.5 million, he could get you a lot of safe points, but he could also make 10 saves and still concede 7. And at that point, the only thing he won't be saving is you from embarrassment. I see this as good of a choice that Etheridge was last season with Cardiff, who everyone and their nan brought into their team. So, are you feeling risky? Are you willing to go far, man? Our first defender is Marcus Alonso. Now, you might not think this is risky, but he's the joint third most expensive defender at 6.5 mil, and you don't even know if he will start. Emerson will be breathing down his neck like a guy sat next to you on the bus, and it's hard to see who will be starting until he bangs a top corner screamer free kick against United within 10 minutes, then forgetting he's a defender, and then going back to doing absolutely nothing. Next up, we have Joe Gomez, the big man. Well, not so big standing next to Van Dijk, but he is 1 million cheaper than Van Dijk. Obviously not getting the same goal contribution, as he's not throwing his slab head like Maguire, but he could get you those Liverpool clean sheets, so you can spend that extra 1 million on, I don't know, blackjack and hookers. That's if he actually starts over Matip. Next up, we have James Mike Tukowski, my favourite Monsters Inc. character. This one is even riskier than trying to sub off Kepa in a game. You don't know if it'll happen. But if Burnley get to their defensive best like they did the season before last, Tarkowski could get some nice clean sheets and additionally nutting in a few goals like he did last season, so he could be that risky player. Next up, we have our first promoted player in 5 million, Ender Stevens. He is listed as a defender, but plays as a very far forward left wing back, basically a left midfielder, and has scored 4 goals in his last 6 league games, which is more league goals than Alexis Sanchez has scored in a year and a half for Man United. So Ender Stevens better than Sanchez confirmed, and another risky option. Next up, maybe the most controversial choice in this risky team. So controversial, I might even end up on drama alert, but it's Kevin De Bruyne. Now, you might think, how on earth is this risky? The only thing risky about Kev would be finding out the DNA results to see if he's even Zinchenko's dad. But De Bruyne had a season full of injuries last season, but when he's not injured, he consistently outscores everyone for assists, so the biggest right now would be his fitness and his minutes. The next pick is every footballer's role model and a perfect club captain, Paul Pogba. Now, we've all heard he's been linked with a move, and there's only one big motivation he has to stay: his local barbers. But when he's playing well, he is one of FPL's best players with goals, assists and penalties. Now, I've even heard that some of his penalty run-ups have lasted longer than some of his haircuts, but this could be a great risk to take in what you'd expect to be a better Man United team. I mean, it would be harder to get worse than losing 2-0 to relegated Cardiff, right? This next pick isn't gross. Wait. It is gross. But ignoring last season because of his injuries, he's actually a great FPL player, and under a more attacking Graham Why Did You Leave Us Potter's team, he could be looking at quite a few attacking returns, but at 6.5 mil, definitely a risk because it's unsure if he can do it straight away again. Next up, Manchester United's best signing this year, Dan James. He's so quick, he ran out of his Leeds medical in January into the Man United team in the summer. He is not proven and he did not register that many goals and assists, but in a team slightly better than Swansea and with really good finishes around him, I think is a great option for only 6 mil, with the only concern if he will actually be starting. Next up is Mr. Aston Villa, Jacqueline Grealish. He is the main guy at Villa and he will play every single minute and always will be involved in goals, but not always at the end. He's great at being the assister to the assister, so he may not get that many points, but again at 6 million, he could be that risk to at least get better than average points for the game week, something I don't do often. And the last risk to take is Timo Pukki. 29 goals and 9 assists in the Championship is an amazing tally. Norwich scored a lot of goals and I'm expecting him to get some goals and assists again, but will he be able to do it frequently? I can see him getting 10 plus goals this season, and I would give you 10 plus risk points if you choose him from game week 1 against Liverpool. But there we have it. That is my riskiest team and a few honourable mentions to these guys as well. But the point of this video is to say there will be players that haven't proved themselves or haven't had the best of seasons, But to win FPL, you have to take some real punts, some big risks and differential players that not many people have chosen but could shock some people. If everyone had very identical teams, the team that had a lot of different players that performed really well and under the radar, they would be miles ahead. But remember, you don't want to take too many punts, but it would be worth having a couple in your team. So let me ask again, are you feeling frisky? Wait, are you feeling risky? And remember,
don't be a cheeky scrub. Subscribe to Nathan Bacon right now.